The question everyone is asking right now is, how does this affect you finding your new home? And how does this go ahead and affect you selling your existing one? Honestly, those are amazing questions, and I want to make sure that we get those answered for you today in this video. But before we go any further, let me go ahead and introduce myself to you. My name is John Bourgeois. I am your Nashville, Tennessee real estate agent, really your resource for all things Nashville. So whether that be you're looking at a new home, resale home, you're looking to list, move, or even relocate, I definitely want to be a resource for you, and I definitely want to go ahead and make sure that I make this an easier process for you as well. Now, how does this affect you, and what does this all mean? Again, that's going to be something we cover in this video today, and we're going to be looking at some real stats from June 2022. They were just released last week by the Williamson County Association of Realtors. And what I'm going to be going ahead and doing is I'm going to make sure that we put those on the screen for you to be able to see what I'm seeing. But I'm also going to go ahead and make sure that I put my realtor hat on and point out a couple of really key things for you as well. On top of that though, besides just looking at stats, what I want to make sure that I do for you as well is I want to take a look at what's happening in the market, but I also want to give you a perspective from somebody who's out in the field day in and day out, who's having conversations with builders and developers, and basically give you a boots on the ground perspective and the insider scoop, right? I'm having these conversations with these developers and these builders. Might as well include you in it as well. Now, if this is your first time to the channel, let me just go ahead and say welcome. You're gonna wanna make sure that you like, you subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. That notification bell is really important for you because it's gonna give you as much up-to-date content as possible, and it's gonna really help you make the right decision at the right time throughout this entire process. Other than that, let's jump into things. How does this affect you, and what does it all mean? Again, like I mentioned to you, we're going to be going ahead and we're going to be looking at June 2022 stats. They just got released last week by the Williamson County Association of Realtors. And again, I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to put my realtor hat on for you as well and point out a couple of things that I'm seeing. The first thing that I'm seeing when I take a look at the stats from last month is this. When we compare the number of homes sold compared to last year, June 2021, we're actually seeing that June 2022 sold roughly around 100 homes less than it did the year previous. Now that's huge because every other month that we've been looking at, you haven't been seeing that. You've been seeing an increase year over year. Last month was the first time that we've seen in a long while a decrease over the previous year. The other big thing that I'm seeing as well is that compared to June 2021, you're looking at the price or the median price per home or the average price per home, you're looking at it being roughly around $300,000 more than it was previous. So you're seeing less homes being sold, but you're seeing it sold for a lot more than it did the year prior, right? That's huge. The last thing that I want to go ahead and point out when we look at these stats is this: the days on market. Simply put, all that really means is the amount of days that you have to make a decision on the home that you've fallen in love with, or the amount of days that you have that you've gone ahead, listed it, and now sold it. So when we compare the days on market for June 2022 compared to June 2021, you actually notice that it's lessened, right? So for residential, single family residential, you'll notice that it's lessened by roughly about a day. But for condos, it's almost half. So what that means is you've got less time to make a decision on the home that you're looking at. Now, let me share with you what I'm seeing boots on the ground, right? First off, I'm seeing the dump trucks dumping. I'm seeing the hammers hammering the nails, right? I'm seeing new homes continuously building, even with what we just looked at as far as stats. In fact, Nashville was already ranked number 4 for the number of new home builds and new home sales, right, in across the nation. But it was also just recently ranked number 11 out of 108 cities across the nation for where you can buy a first-time home or a starter home or an investment rental property. That's huge. When we look at the actual market and what's happening in the market, for the first time in a long while, last week we actually saw the mortgage rates decrease rather than increase. On top of all of that, Nashville just went ahead and approved a $1.2 billion East Nashville campus for Oracle. And GM just recently announced that they're going to be going ahead and investing $2 billion into their Spring Hill, Tennessee plant, where they're going to be building their electric Cadillacs there. Now, why is that important? Why do I share that information with you? Here's why. Right? The question that we were asking is, how does this affect you and what does this all mean, right? So if we look at stats looks like, okay, we were selling less homes. But when we start to study the rest of the market as well, when anytime you see big businesses investing big dollars into a market like that, you can expect a couple of things. First off, anticipation. Simply put, anticipation is just where you can anticipate the value of an area going up based on the investments that are going into it, right? So that's the first one. Secondly, when you see big businesses doing big investments like that, you can expect these things. You can expect expansion. You can expect growth. You can expect new jobs, career development. And then on top of that, those investments go into the infrastructure of the community, goes into new homes, goes into shopping, goes into new amenities, parks, and like I said, goes into the betterment of the community, which is massive. Now, we've taken a look at last month's stats. We've taken a look at what's happening in the market as a whole. But now I want to go ahead and give you that insider scoop, that boots on the ground perspective of the conversations that I'm having with our builders and our developers, right? Obviously, I'm there building the relationships with these developers and these builders. So they're sharing some more stuff with me that they might not be sharing with you, but it's important for you to understand what's also happening in the market as well. So the first conversation that I literally had this week was with a developer that was literally a well-known developer who was literally going ahead and saying to me, hey, John, if your client is interested in this property, we are willing to go ahead and put $35,000 towards either a mortgage buy down or towards closing costs. Now that's huge. Let me tell you why. Because in the past, a developer would just list the price of a home. Multiple offers would come on that. If you wanted it, you did the listing price. If you didn't, then you could expect not to get it, right? I'm also having conversations with developers and builders that are saying, hey, John, we've got a move-in special. If your client is willing to go ahead and sign the dotted line, then we'll go ahead. We'll actually put, and this was a conversation I just had today, we'll actually put a refrigerator in there. We will, a brand new refrigerator, a washer and a dryer in there. We'll go ahead and make sure they've got some of those additional amenities that they wouldn't have done in the past, okay? So now, why is all of that relevant? Well, again, we're trying to answer the question for you. How does this affect you and what does it all mean, right? We're looking at the first time in a long while, the number of homes that have sold not being as much as it used to be in the year prior, right? But on top of that, you're seeing big businesses come into the market and start to invest into the market. And you've got this perfect storm where the developers and the builders are now going ahead and saying, let's come to the table. Let's have a conversation. Let's go ahead and see what we can do to help your client get into our new home. That's all huge. Hopefully this video was beneficial to you. And if you do have any questions, or even if you need help finding that new home or selling your existing home, feel free, leave a comment below, or you can text me, you can email me, you can reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, and I would love to go there on the journey with you. Guys, I'll see you on the next video.